Every time. Every time I try to come out here and make a video, it's always way overgrown in my yard. And I come out into the grass over here, and I never quite know what I'm gonna find. Like, we get the regular field mice and stuff like that that gets into the house, but I've found snakes and stuff. I've just, walked around in the grass and found snakes over here before. And there's always so much noise that comes out from the back back of the yard. All the sounds, the chirping from the bugs are just everywhere. And I think that's why we get so many ants and stuff inside, is because, as soon as the grass gets cut down here, all of a sudden the bugs don't have a home anymore. So I tend to want to record a video outside and want to do it back here, to go back out there in the brush and stuff. And then I feel I feel as though I can't, because of all the like random stuff that shows up. And I don't like dealing with it. I've never liked snakes, I've never liked bugs, and I don't like dealing with them. It's weird how I could be in near death scenarios. I have been in near death scenarios multiple times, and was afraid but was able to completely keep my cool and handle the situation. But then all of a sudden I turn around and am afraid of bugs. Like I'll see a bug and then I'll just scream. Um, and so I get scared of small things like that. They're gross. I don't like them. Um, but it goes, completely in contrast with some of the other stuff that I've been able to not not be afraid of, or at least keep my cool under in order to handle the situation. Um, I've been thinking a lot about how is this channel going to progress. You know, what is this channel even supposed to be after I came out as trans on the internet? Um, I still haven't really fully came out to my family yet, so I'm in kind of this weird limbo period. I told my mom about it, and I haven't figured out how to tell my dad yet, even though I know he'd be accepting of it. I've had very vague, very, very vague conversations about gender with him, and have tried not to implicate in anything as hard as I can, while getting some of the basic ideas across. But every time it gets close to actually talking about it, I just get too scared and then I don't say anything. Um, no, I came out to him pretty soon after I turned 16, around then. And when I was 15, I had tried to get into the conversation with him a couple times. Didn't really properly come out, I wouldn't say, but it was kind of like a soft coming out when I was 15. And then when I was 16, I just, pretty soon after I turned 16, I mean, I just, I just said it. And, he said he would accept me for, whoever I was, but, um, there, there was a degree to which he just didn't understand that, made me uncomfortable at the time. And I don't think those conversations would be as hard now as they were then, but it's that there's that mental block from, those conversations when I was younger. Um, Even though I know he'd be accepting, it's just hard. And then obviously, there's my brother, who I haven't spoken to in years now, and have no intention to. That when I showed interests in dressing like a girl, or in having feminine toys, um, I got hit really hard by him a bunch of times, um, as a kid. And I think that probably played an effect on it too. Like, I tried so hard for so long just to be a guy. Over and over again. Anybody who knows me for a long amount of time, anyone who's known me for over, 3.5 years online, knows that I went back and forth a few times with my own identity, where I said, there's nothing wrong with being trans, but I think it would be the right decision for me to try as hard as I can not to be, because of the way society treats trans people and women more broadly. And I think if you can choose not to be, if you have the power not to be, you ought to, because of the danger that it poses to you and the how uncomfortable you're going to be because of how you will be treated, and the broader implications it has for your mental health. But I also think that people should be given the right to take that risk. They should be given the right to put themselves in harm's way in that way if that's truly what they want, if that's what's going to make them the most happy. And ultimately, you're the only one who can decide what will make you the most happy. There may be informed judgments about that question based on the experiences or analysis coming from other people, but you're the only one who can really sit down and decide to make that decision. And it shouldn't be anyone else's business what makes you happy. In my case, I'm pretty young in comparison to other trans people. I'm 18 years old. So I haven't had as much time trying to repress these things as other people have. But I feel as though I've had enough. I've tried again and again and again, and every time that I've tried to present those affectations, male affectations, as if they were me, I felt worse. But when I'm referred to in a feminine way, when I present myself in a feminine way, I'm overcome by so much positive emotion that there's nothing else that I'd rather do. The difference is so significant, it's like night and day. And when people talk about gender dysphoria, they often say that gender euphoria, the feeling I'm describing of immense satisfaction when you're referred to by the gender you identify as, is a larger, significantly larger even, sign of being trans than dysphoria. Because dysphoria can be linked to, things like body dysmorphia, a general sense of disgust towards your physical form, which I experience, but I experience it specifically in the context of a broader gender dysphoria problem. And this may be confusing to a lot of people, because the way I present myself on the internet is through the veneer of a character. It's performance. All of this is a performance. Like, you can't go up to a camera and speak into it as if you're speaking to a person without there being a degree to which those words are rehearsed in your own mind, are thought about, are heightened, your voice and the way that you present yourself, for the sake of keeping people's attention, for the sake of making something, for the sake of telling a story. That's entertainment. It's not a person. You don't watch a video and then get a person. You get a piece of a person, sure, because the only thing that a person can put into the thing that they're making is themselves, or the experiences of others which are imparted onto themselves, thereby making it a part of themselves. You can't make something without it being derived from the knowledge that you already possess, or out of something that doesn't already exist. But that doesn't mean that it's not a performance. And I think, people confuse the two. Because when I look at my content, I don't relate to my content. A lot of it I don't relate to. Because so much of it comes out of repression. It comes out of the isolation that I experienced as partly a result of my dysphoria. It comes out of a need to perform a masculine character in an entertainment setting, when that is not the same character that I present on a day-to-day basis to the people that I'm speaking to. Um, when people describe me in real life, or even just in my interactions in voice chat or text, I've often heard that when I'm doing a big rant about a specific topic, that it sounds like something that would come out of my videos. And that's because I learned how to speak through making videos. I barely talked throughout most of my life, barely. I didn't learn how to speak until I started making videos all the time, and that was because I was always in my room. I didn't go to school or anything like that, not for a long period of time at least, and in the periods in which I didn't speak to anybody, and so I learned how to speak from my videos. And when you do that, there are certain speaking patterns that you inevitably fall into, that are characteristic of being an entertainer, of speaking of things more dramatically, heightening your voice up and down, as if as if a story has to have multiple, what's the word? Not climaxes, multiple. Well, you get the point. Basically, I don't know how to speak in a way that isn't the way an entertainer does. Like, I don't know how to just sound like a normal person. I have to actively try to sound like a normal person. And I fall into entertainment mode all the time because that's how I learned how to talk. At least in regards to doing rants. And it can confuse people because, like recently, for example, I ended up sounding more angry about a topic than I actually was because I wanted to present it in an entertaining way. Of course, the complaints that I was making about that topic were genuine. They were, genuine concerns that I had, but I didn't care, not even remotely, about what I was talking about. It made me slightly uncomfortable in the moment what I was describing, but I didn't care. I just presented it as if I did because I thought that would be more entertaining. And that mode wasn't something I just switched on, it just naturally went there. I just naturally went into heightening the experience as to make the story more entertaining. And it made the other person uncomfortable. They said, do you want to talk about something else? You seem pretty distressed about this. And I got confused because I thought, in order to be interesting, this is kind of just how you have to talk. But when you're in that one-on-one experience with another person, they don't want you to merely be entertaining. They want to connect with you. They want your genuine feelings. And I feel like I've gotten so lost in making things that I've forgotten what that genuine experience is, or at least how to express it. Because so much of my expression is tied to this veneer of inauthenticity, or I should say veneer of authenticity, which is actually inauthentic. And as a result of that showmanship, I've lost sight of my genuine feelings, and that was part of the confusion that kind of made coming out once and for all to the internet so difficult, was because so much of my identity is tied to the things that I create, or my identity in the eyes of other people. And the things that I create are based in showmanship. They're based in being an entertainer. They're based in putting on a performance. But the performance is never really the person. It's only a piece of the person. And when I try to peel back that performance and show you who I really am, and am trying to figure out how to express who I really am, I am inevitably met with the conclusion that the vast majority of my content I don't relate to. I'm different. I'm different when you actually speak to me, unless I'm putting on a performance. The things that I want, the things that I feel, are different. I'm much more emotional, for example, much more sensitive. Um, I come off as, misanthropic in these videos. Misanthropy is kind of my gimmick, but I, I try to be very supportive and caring. I've always kind of been like that. You know, I tell people that I love them a lot. That's I try to let people know that I care about them very deeply. The friendship, connection. So these are things that aren't readily expressed in these videos because those are things that I've repressed for a long time. But those are also things that make the performance less interesting, that make the character less eccentric. And I'm sort of tired of being eccentric for the sake of it. And I'm also tired of making myself believe that I'm more eccentric than I am. At the end of the day, I'm just kind of a normal person. I'm just a normal person who also happens to be transgender. And hopefully, I can help you and myself come to better terms with that.